Svādhishthāna, that's the name of chakra 2 in Sanskrit. And like all of these really ancient words and concepts, and some of the language there could be pre-Sanskrit actually. So some of these really ancient words and concepts have many meanings. And svādhishthāna in particular can be split in different ways. And if you split it svādhi and sthana, it really means the abode of sweetness. Svādhi means sweetness, and sthana is like a place to stand, to root and to reside. But you could split it shva and dishtana, which then it can mean all sorts of different things. Shva means self, the self. It can mean the true self. The word swami or swami is an enlightened being who has realized their self with a capital S. And then dishtana can mean a lot of different interesting things. But one is the appointment of birth and death. It can mean death, actually, just death. It can mean appointed time. It can mean just time. And so often this is called, really both chakras 1 and 2 are both considered are gateways to the wisdom of birth and death. It's big stuff. And death, of course, has a lot of shadow around it. And I don't think we talk about death enough in our culture because it is so important and such a big part of life. But honestly, birth has a lot of shadow as well. Some of you have given birth. It is scary. And human bodies are such that we've evolved in such a way that human birth has a high mortality rate compared to all the other animals on the planet. It's a lot easier for them to give birth. These big brains of ours have to come out, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And we need a lot of support for a new human to come into the world. That mama needs a lot of support. And birth and death are moments that, from my experience, I've been in the room when there has been birth, and I have been in the room when there has been death. And in my experience, they're actually much closer than we think of them as being. And putting kind of both of them in the shadow and the aside spaces, these, blood and fear and moments of life and death has all been we've been sort of shielded from it in our modern life. It used to be that you would raise your animals and you would slaughter the chicken for dinner, or you would go out and you would catch your fish. Not very long ago, births would be happening in homes. And I'm not in any way advocating that we go back in any way. I'm just saying that there are ramifications for, in somewhat recent evolutionary history, us relegating both birth and death to the shadows, to spaces, to otherness spaces. And this acceptance key that Nisargadatta talks about, that suffering comes from the context around it. And that pleasure also comes from the context around it. But really anything, we can enjoy and appreciate anything that we've come to accept. And so if you're struggling with any of the aspects of chakra 2 or working on anything here, can you lean into the truth and the reality of birth and death? And the fact that there is so much similar about them. There's so much to celebrate in both of those spaces. In many ways, you all came here for birth and death, right? You are learning how to let go of things that you know have been causing you suffering. And you're learning to make space for these fresh selves to be reborn. And I've been in the room when a fresh human comes in, and it is so joyful. And that capacity to just be held and loved and to receive pleasure in life and harmony and care is hardwired into you. You have unlearned it. along the way. And I hope that we can relearn it together. Okay, that's the little talk.